I thought it was interesting as us black people in America, if we are wearing a hoodie, we're often labeled as something, but if we're putting on this uniform, representing the country and serving the country, we're seen as something other than.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So if numbers don't lie, and you could build leverage in numbers and then walk in to a meeting with a project with numbers behind it to prove that it's a hot project, and with like the business knowledge, and you say, boom, this is what I got, this is money, I'm gonna make you money, versus walking in the room without any of that and being like, you got any roles for me?
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that.
The fasting, it really helps restart the system and gives your body time to, replenish and put the nutrients where they're supposed to be and really digest the food. A lot of times we think we're supposed to be eating back to back, but I bear witness that the less I eat, I might be losing weight, but I feel great. Oh, that was a bar.
Yeah.
Please remain seated.
Welcome everybody to the Rodriguez Project here at Mastermynd Media. I have a great friend of mine across the table today, Mr. Romel Rose. What's up, Romel?
Hit the laugh, the round of applause track. Did we get that?
There it is.
Go. Hey, appreciate you for having me, my brother.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm excited about this conversation. Part 2.
Yes, part 2, part 1.
Yeah,
part 2.
Part 1 that nobody saw.
Yeah,
will ever
but
see.
seeing clips are live.
Absolutely.
But I'm excited today. We got time. We can take our time with this awesome conversation.
Yes,
dive deeper into some of the stuff we talked about before. But to start, I wanted the people to know who you are. Give me 3 words that describe you professionally and personally. Total of 3 words that combine the three words of your world.
3 words. I would say God-fearing, creative, filmmaker.
Okay. Yeah.
I was going to say
Brought
2
it home.
words. I was trying to think of one. I was going to say big heart.
Yeah.
Was that first one a 2-worder?
It was.
What was the first
Well,
one?
I mean,
God-fearing?
Oh, is it a
God,
hyphen?
it's one word.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
yes, God-fearing. God-fearing.
And the voice behind the scenes, Jai Ma. What's up, Jai?
What's up, y'all?
Everything's up because Romel's here.
It's up and it's stuck.
Yes, sir. So we got so much to talk about, and I want to dive into the filmmaking stuff. I want to dive into like your world as an entrepreneur and how you were doing like the parties and the events and everything, and how you're super successful with that, and how that's transitioned into what you're doing now as a business of acting coach and helping people really crack the code on breaking in, because that's something I think so many people come to Hollywood or wherever they are. You really don't have to be in Hollywood anymore, but wherever they are, they think like the creative is like, as long as I'm just the best actor. And I think what's the guy that played Dustin Hoffman? I think he famously said something on his Oscar speech about for all the actors that didn't have the opportunity to get up there. And because there's so many great actors, a lot of them are in our acting classes, as we kind of spoke about before. So if we start at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, when did things start? Like, when did you start piecing that together? And did you even know that you were building yourself as an entrepreneur, or it was just like, this is easy for me?
Nah, absolutely not. I think, for me, I started off as an actor, and early on in, taking acting classes and training and everything like that, my career wasn't necessarily going the way that I wanted it to go. I was training. I felt like I was a really good actor. At the time, I still feel like I am a great actor, but at the same time, I wasn't getting the opportunities that I thought or I felt like I should have been getting. So, I trained with my acting coach at the time, Anthony Gilardi, and, his training was very heavily predicated on like learning the craft, learning how to break down a script, learning how to develop, the character development and everything like that. But his number one thing was always, don't wait on Hollywood to give you opportunities. So I took that to heart, because I was like, okay, me coming in as a black actor, learning that I was a black actor, and learning, the type of adversity and the roadblocks that come with being a black man in Hollywood, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to wait around for Hollywood to cast me. I'm going to create opportunities for myself and for others. So that was the genesis of that. I had no idea that it would snowball and turn into what it's turning into, but it all started with me just trying to give myself opportunities in front of the camera. And then I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm good at this because people like my short films. And
Yeah. Because how many short films did you end up doing?
8. Yeah,
8.
I have 8 right now.
And what did that grow? So the growth as an actor, which is so important, to be in class, being in class with a dope teacher too, and to really formulate who you are as an artist. Really,
Right.
that is so important.
Yeah.
We're not saying that that's not important. That's huge. That changed my life, both personally, professionally, so that's a huge component of it. So the growth as an actor, when you're in the right class and you're around the right people, could be tremendous, which is amazing. But what did that growth look like? How did you like really the activation of doing your own short films? How did you really start like growing from that point, knowing behind the scenes and cameras and all that kind of stuff?
You know what?
No, I don't. That's why I asked.
I don't actually. Tell me. What's crazy is, when I was training as an actor, we really learned the concept behind breaking down, the script. And so I really understood, by doing that, I understood storytelling. So I knew that, okay, I don't know the ins and outs of production. I don't know how to, produce, but I know how to tell a story. So, I got together, we talk about, Issa Rae has a quote talking about networking across and not going for, the Issa Raes and the Ryan Cooglers or the Dustin Hoffmans or the the Steven Spielbergs, right? Like, really connecting with people who are, in your classes or who are, right beside you, who are creative, similar levels, right? Yeah. So I got together with some people, who were at the same level as me, and we got together. I got with a videographer. I understood storytelling. I casted my little brother, casted his son at the time, who was a newborn baby, and we made a short film, and then I kind of learned by doing. I made the success of the first one. It went to festivals, it won some awards, so it gave me the confidence to, do it again. But then,
American Pitbull?
Yeah, the America's Pitbull, and then I did High Yellow, and then I just learned from the process and learning, YouTube University, kind of just learning as I go.
And what didn't go right,
exactly.
The next time goes right.
Exactly.
And because there's so many different components to it that you're like how important sound is, and very for you it was so wise to do a first film. I don't know if you knew that it was wise to do a silent film first.
Yeah, so for me, no, I didn't.
Yeah, but it's brilliant too, because now you can focus to make sure it just looks good.
Right.
And because once you add the element of sound, it's fucking hard. A lot of that could go wrong, and that could mess up your whole thing.
100%.
So that was actually wise.
That's funny that you said that, because I didn't even know. I did it because it was a stylistic choice of the story that I told. I knew that it didn't need any dialogue. Yeah. So I
break down the story a little bit.
So the story is about, first of all, I watched this film called Fruitvale Station. If you guys haven't seen it, you should go check it out. And it's a story about Oscar Grant, who is unarmed, and he ends up, we all kind of know the story as far as an unarmed black man getting shot in a movie, you know what I mean? But there was a scene in the film where he befriends a pit bull at the gas station, and at the time I didn't understand the scene. I was kind of like, "What? Why is this scene?"
Symbolic, right?
Yeah. So the pit bull gets hit by a car, and Oscar Grant, who's played by Michael B. Jordan, he goes and befriends the pit bull, and he has a moment with the dog, and I didn't understand it, but as I did research on the filmmaker, I learned that it was symbolic, and it actually foreshadowed what was going to happen to the main character in the film. So that inspired me, because it's, Ryan was talking about, it's symbolic of, as black men, we are America's pit bull. We're often left to die in the street. We're often labeled as violent, vicious, inhumane, and that impacted me. So, I wanted to give my version of what America's Pit Bull meant to me, as being a black man. So, I casted my little brother. At the time, he was a Marine, and I just thought it was interesting to play with the concept of.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, man. Thank you, bro. Praise be to God. And it's just I thought it was interesting as us black people in America, if we are wearing a hoodie, we're often labeled as something, but if we're putting on this uniform, representing the country and serving the country, we're seen as something other than. So I just thought playing with the idea of attire as far as symbolism and also storytelling, I thought that was interesting. So, it ended up being something very special that we made that I'm very proud of. So
yeah, it is so brilliant. And then that really, so after you did that, and then you also sent it to Ryan Coogler too, right? He saw it, and
he saw it. He liked it. He told me to keep sending him my stuff. So I kept sending him my stuff.
But don't wait on Hollywood. Make
Exactly.
something, learn, and then now that makes you a better storyteller. Just from breaking down scripts, so you knew that. Now you go and write something. Now you're understanding that more. Now you actually create something that's like substantial, and you're able to send that out and see the impact that it can make on other people and open minds. Now it's like, oh, here's Romel the artist. He's got something to say.
Right. Yeah.
And that's so like as that growth started happening, and that kind of parlayed into the next and the next and the next. So what was that growth like? Was it looking back at it, could you feel where it was like tremendous leaps after that?
Not at the time. In the moment, it was kind of like, all right, well, that gave me. So I actually wrote High Yellow first, but I didn't know how to make it. So I was like, okay, I know how to make America's Pitbull. I just need a videographer. At the time, I'm not knowing it's cinematography and all of this stuff. So
you have the same shooter from all your pieces, or
yeah.
who is it?
Adrian J. Martin. Yeah, Adrian J. Martin, bro. I love you, man. Like without him, none of the films happen. You know what I mean? Big shout out to him.
We have another Adrian. That's
yeah, I saw you look at me. Not Adrian Javon. Shout out to Adrian.
Because I remember his first name being Adrian, and we just started shooting. Jai met this dope cinematographer and music artist, and now we've hired him to shoot some of our stuff for Mastermynd, and he's really dope. But for a second there, I was like, wait, Romel had an Adrian as well. I forgot. Like,
he goes by Adrian Javon now.
Wait, is that him?
That's probably
Does he have
him.
dreads?
Yes, that's
oh
my boy.
God, we're talking about the same guy.
Yeah. For a second, because I'm like looking back to that photo where you guys are like looking at the camera together or something. It's like one of your BTS joints.
That's him, Adrian Javon. I sorry if I said Adrian Javon Martin. I know his full name.
Okay,
he goes by Adrian Javon. I'm sorry.
Wow.
He's
shout out
dope.
to Adrian Javon. He's
shout out to him.
Touching everybody.
Love it. Yeah, man, one of the most talented individuals that I know. And like I always say, like without him, like people look at me and like, oh my gosh, you've done all these short films. I'm like, none of that happens without Adrian. Let's be very clear. You know what I mean? So he's been a partner. He's been a genius behind the camera. Like, as far as his shot selections, like I come to him with an idea and he enhances it. So,
yeah, and that's our job as a director specifically. I remember, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but Tarantino went to the Sundance Lab with Reservoir Dogs. So he's there, and this is a story I think I heard him say. So he was there, and he went to one of the directors that was like, helping out at the lab or whatever the case, or had their film at Sundance. And he's like, hey, like, how do I get what I have in my head on the screen? And then the guy told him, like, I forget who it was, but he told him, it's not your job to get what's in your head on the screen. It's your job to hire the right people that can execute the right vision on the screen.
Right.
And that comes down to even the score and the sound and the cinematography. So the art design, like there's so much stuff that goes into it. And you have this idea in your head, and then you hire the right people that can execute that, but not only execute, that can also enhance it to make you look like a fucking genius.
Right.
But that's the thing, is like, that's why you want to look at somebody that can execute it, and they can, if they can prove based on their prior work that they can do it, then you mitigate the risk of you doing something like trash on the screen. Like if you just pick up anybody, like, hey man, I know you never did a documentary, but like, let's see what we can do. I know you only do this, this, and this, but let's see what your version of this, it might work.
Right.
But if you go and you pick the dopest cinematographer you can find at your whatever rate of pay you can or collaboration, and they've already executed something and they execute it for you and then elevate it and put your own twist on it, then you have magic for sure.
Yeah. And that's something that I learned that I had a skill set in. Like I understood, like I didn't know at the time, but looking back, I started to realize like, oh, I have the ability to like bring people together, and I have resources, and like I'm like, oh, I know how to produce. And I just learned that. I thought it was all common sense at first. I was like, okay, you do this, you do that, you get this person, like this person is good at this.
Yeah,
so you do it. But then I'm like, oh, everybody doesn't have that ability to identify what people are good at. And I think I get that from basketball, being a point guard, knowing, okay, if this man is hot, keep feeding him the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to win. So it's like, okay, how do we assemble a team together so we can win? So if it's like, okay, if you're good at cinematography, you're good at sound, you're good at acting, you know what I'm saying? If you can portray this role, then let's all come together and make a film. So I credit my point guard experience to that.
Sports,
it's
man.
crazy how sports can relate to everything.
I think sports might be like the key thing in my life too, where it's like learning how to lose and overcome loss and be a team player, and anything you can do. It's like, it's that life hack.
Right.
And that's why I think everybody should try at least a sport,
Exactly.
a sport and an instrument
Yeah.
to get out there and see what you can make happen. But wow, that's fascinating, man. And that's so dope that it was Adrian. I'd literally just, you could, if you, it was like a moment, it was like the Goodwill Hunting moment as he's like
crazy.
figuring out the formula.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys.
Then I looked
were
at her,
working.
then it wasn't. Then I was like, oh no, it wasn't him. But then it was.
Well,
Yeah.
we met. Well, I met Adrian because I styled him for his music video.
Oh, word.
Yes, and then that whole team was just incredible. I'm not sure if you know Marcus too.
You know, Marcus,
yeah.
Marcus
started
just shot
working
some
with
stuff for
us.
us too.
Yeah, I know Marcus.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
an amazing videographer as well and director. But yeah, I got some amazing people.
Man, I should have been hitting you up about who these people were.
I'm like, dang, that's crazy.
Because you've been working with them for like a decade then.
Yeah, for sure, over a decade, a little bit. So yeah, we worked extensively together, and he's just he's all over the place doing a bunch of stuff. So I'm not even surprised. You know, LA is small,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
yeah,
man.
that's what's up.
Yeah. So, the entrepreneurial like tendencies, or just like the entrepreneurial mindset that you have for like the short films, and then the other stuff that you were doing before is you were like doing events and that kind of thing and getting people together. So you, and like that's one thing that I always admired about you by doing that stuff and building a community of people that now like your email list, that if there's a job open for somebody and you have so many people that you can just send the word out to give all these people opportunities that have been kind of riding with you and that you've been working with for a long time. Did you do anything else other than the events, or was that like one of the main things that you first started doing that you're like, I'm gonna do my own thing with that?
Yeah, I think as far as events and everything was concerned, it kind of started off in college. Like we would throw all the parties and stuff like that. So it kind of transitioned into, that same energy that we would have at the college parties. We kind of brought that to LA, and my boy.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Cal State Bakersfield. So my boy, he had a very extensive background in throwing parties and everything like that, the popular guy in LA. So we all kind of came together with our backgrounds and we started throwing these massive parties in LA. It's kind of crazy because it's like, it's funny because just we all had experiences doing it, and we all kind of came together like the Avengers, and like we kind of like we grew very quickly. Like we didn't expect to like grow that bit, but the thing is we didn't have like the business acumen behind it, you know what I mean, to really capitalize off of it. We were bringing a lot of numbers together, but
which is maybe the hardest thing to do.
Yeah,
It's hard. People want to start things, but it takes time.
Exactly.
And the fact that you put the right team together, and then because I remember seeing the videos or like seeing the different events and stuff. It's like, damn, it's just packed.
Yeah, it kind of bit us in the ass because we would pack out these venues, but then, sometimes with drunk people and everything like that, people don't know how to act. So it's just like, I wanted to kind of pivot and do more so like networking events and things that bring more attention to the business as far as like, the creative endeavors that we're doing. So, yeah.
Amazing, man. Well, it's been so cool to watch and see as things like continue, like just the impact that you're making on other people and in your career as well. And now with like the business of acting stuff, like when did that click for you where you're like, wait a second, I now have the gifts that you didn't have before, and I want to start impacting other people's lives so that they can get where they want to go sooner?
Yeah, it started off like kind of like what I was saying earlier. A lot of people were asking me how to develop projects and how to take their idea and develop it. And I'm thinking again, like, oh, you do this, you do that. This person,
second nature to you.
Just do
it. Just do it.
But I learned that it wasn't that. Like a lot of people don't know how to do that. And I was like, oh, snap. So I was just like, okay, let me give a step by step, create some curriculum behind it and, see if this helps people. And it was actually helping. It was actually valuable. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. I see a business opportunity in this. And then not only that, I learned, the same kind of way that now that I'm reflecting, I'm like, it's the kind of same learn by doing as far as like the filmmaking was concerned, because, doing programs and doing these different, curriculum based endeavors, that's a creative process in itself. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of separate than the actual creativity. It's like now we're moving into business and we're moving into like packaging it up, but I treated it like a project. You know what I mean? I even the step by step, I called them episodes, and I would, treat it like it was a series. So even in that, I thought to myself, it kind of clicked one day. I was like, wow, like, okay, I understand this, but I actually understand the business of acting like the back of my hand, and I was completely ignoring an audience that was out there as far as like actors who were trying to navigate and learn the business. And I was like, I kind of overlooked it because, again, second nature. I was like, oh, I've been in acting for over 10 years. I'm thinking like, okay, but there's a audience and a pool of people who don't know this information, who need this information. So
because a lot of the people just think, oh, I'll go to the class, I'll get better as an actor, I'll get the agent will get me auditions, I'll book the job, and then I'll just keep on booking jobs and have a great career.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Because that's how it's kind of sold to all actors, and it's like it happens like that, but majority of people who I know, it does not happen like that.
I would say that used to be most of the case 20 years ago. Like that was the only way
20 years ago.
Well, because the internet came out and it was like, oh wait, you can now really take, if you did those short films before, dope. Not as many people would have seen them because you didn't have YouTube. So now that there's the internet, and now that there's ways to really, I mean, that's stuff that we do every single day at Mastermynd with social media. How do you get your brand? How do we extract the value from your brand, and then create content around it and distribute it in the right places that has the highest organic growth? And if you do that, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So if numbers don't lie, and you could build leverage in numbers, and then walk in to a meeting with a project with numbers behind it to prove that it's a hot project, and with like the business knowledge, and you say, boom, this is what I got. This is money. I'm gonna make you money, versus walking in the room without any of that and being like, you got any roles for me? Yeah. It's just as simple as that.
It doesn't work like that.
So I would say it used to be only like that, and that still works. So we know so many actors that have auditioned their way to like stardom, and they're fucking killing it right now. Amazing. It's great to see. A lot of them are starting to produce now too. So I took the thing, I took the pathway of, okay, let's stop auditioning. I'm going to start a company so I could be self-sufficient within what I want to do daily, and still be creative and learn the business of the internet and just business as a whole, and write my projects. And maybe it'll be a longer pathway, but when I get to the point where I'm ready again, I'm gonna be stacked. And I got the lookbooks. I got the dope stories that are high concept, low budget to mitigate the risk of whoever the investor is. So like once my brain, once my brain clicked like that, I was like, okay. And now, based on what we do every day with social media and like doing lookbooks and stuff for people, now like that has been a huge like that was like a huge component to meeting people that I couldn't meet before, because now producers are hitting me up, hey, can you design a lookbook? And I was trying to get a hold of Ty Walker at Sundance. I was trying to penetrate the conversation. Hey, yo, what's up? And I was like, he was talking to somebody I remember at Autumn's party, and I was talking to Paris knew Ty, and I was like, yo, Ty's here. I'm gonna talk to him or whatever. And then he disappeared. I'm like, damn. And Ty now works. He has his own production company, Ty Core, but he also works with Kevin Hart now at Heartbeat. And then like the next week after Sundance, he was in my emails like, yo, I heard you make dope decks. And then, so, that's weird how the universe works. But if you make yourself super valuable in whatever ways, and then you walk into a room, now you have more to offer, which then you'll receive more in that way as well. Exactly. So yeah, I just think, like you said, your acting coach said too, it's like, don't wait for Hollywood. Go out there and make stuff happen. Connect the dots.
Yeah, exactly. And that made me think of like, when I first started off, what really kind of put the battery in my back was that it was pissing me off. We talk about the social media age and when it kind of started to flourish. Like I was doing all of these like independent projects and these films that weren't coming out. Like I was putting all my blood, sweat, and tears, and for whatever reason, like I'll be like, okay,
the ones you were auditioning for,
all the stuff I was auditioning for, I was booking it, and I'm like, it doesn't even come out. So I was like, I didn't understand with social media. I was like, at the least we can do is like put it out, build an audience. We could control the distribution. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just start doing my own stuff so I could, start feeding and building an audience for myself and show that I have something to show for. If I'm saying I'm an actor and I'm doing all of this, I need to have something to show for. So that's why I started creating my own opportunities. And then it's funny because years later, and it's something I tell actors too, years later, people hit me up and they're like, oh, I saw you in this movie on Tubi. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
They finally got their distribution.
Yeah, right. They finally got the distribution years later. I'm like, I shot that 10 years ago. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, So patience is a big thing too, because at the time, like, you know, it was a blessing because it propelled me to, you know, do my own stuff. But then at the same time, some of the stuff ended up coming out, and at the time, I just didn't have patience. I was like, I'm not waiting on this. I'm about to do my own thing.
He's like, I can make my own pieces that don't come out.
Right. Exactly.
I wait for years not to come out.
Wow. Yeah,
no, that's really interesting. And yeah, you've had so much success and with the different short films and, you know, Issa's company distributing it digitally as well. Which project was that?
That was Spirit of Injustice. So Spirit of Injustice got distribution on her platform, and then also because of the internet got distribution with Aspire TV, and then also John got distribution with Fox Soul and everything like that. So that kind of all happened by relationships, you know, by me just not really knowing who was connecting to who. It's just like the value of what we're saying, like putting your stuff out there, and you never know who's going to see it. You never know what companies are looking for content. So, yeah, I've been lucky, but it's working.
It's working.
Yeah. It's, you know, I've been lucky, but then at the same time, it's like, you know, when you're doing targeted approaches to things, it's not luck. Sometimes it's like dots connecting at the same time.
Yeah.
So
I literally I'm reading a book now. It's called like No Rules. It's Reed Hastings, who's the CEO of Netflix now and has been for like probably the last 15 or 10 years, something like that. But he in the book, he references Richard Bronson. Yeah. So, he's the owner of Virgin Mobile, but he talks about his way of life is A, B, C, D. Always be connecting the dots. So literally the more people you meet in your network, and that's what's great about doing your own projects. Now you're giving other people opportunities to be a part of this, which makes your network a little bit larger, but then you put out the project. Now more people see it. That's more of a network that you have and more leverage that you can walk or make connections based on distribution or just people becoming fans of yours. And then now you have created this great foundation of like that you can always fall back on. Like, I've been doing all this stuff. Like, this is not like you're gonna fall through because you haven't been putting in the work. You've created this solid foundation. So now now you have this leverage as you meet new people. Now that's more dots you can connect, and you just continue connecting all the dots. And next thing you know, you've built this amazing career. It's been 20 years and 30 years. And now you're doing features and you're doing more and more and more. Right. So that's one thing that I'm really trying to do now too, because I've been kind of head down for so long. Like, all right, let's get this work done. Let's sacrifice whatever it takes to make it happen. Like my health, right? Not focusing on that. Right. And then now I finally got to a point where I'm like, okay, I think we're like a little bit in the clear. Now, who are my connections? Now I have something substantial to show people that I can do what I say I can do. Right. Now, how do we connect those dots to make bigger leaps in the future? Yeah. And how do we like focus on health as well to make sure we're around for that?
Right.
Too.
Nah, that's a big thing. Focus on health, because you can't burn yourself out, and you can, just putting your mental. Making it that a priority too, because with all the stress and everything that comes with it, especially when it comes to, acting and rejection and learning how to deal with that, and learning that, a no is not necessarily a no. It's just like a maybe later, you know what I mean? So,
because I remember when you made the switch, like within your health and stuff too, you went vegan initially, or was it?
Yeah, initially, I stopped eating meat. First, It was in phases.
Yeah, well, you gotta figure out what's best for you.
I stopped eating red meat when
and why? What was going on?
It started off. Well, how do I say that? It started off
with Richard Bronson,
with Russell Wilson. No, it honestly, it started off. I remember when I turned 27, bro. It was like I was partying, what we just talked about with the partying and everything like that. I was drinking, and it was just taking longer for me to recover. And I was just like, why is this taking what used to take 1.5 days? It was taking 3 to 4 days for me to recover. And I was like, I feel like I'm poisoning myself. Like, what am I doing? Like, and as I was getting older, I started to feel the effects in my body. I was having chronic back issues. You remember that?
Yeah.
It was bad. So I was like, okay, something needs to change. So I stopped drinking, and then I stopped eating red meat, just because I would wake up in the morning. I looked healthy, but I felt unhealthy.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because I've been eating like shit my whole life. Like, especially like living in the Midwest, the fast foods and stuff, just bad eating habits. And then coming to LA, then you think like, oh, this is like, they're doing all these different fads and all that. And like, I don't need to, I'm good, I'm healthy. And my mom even says that sometimes. She'll be like, yeah, but you're healthy and stuff. I'm like, but I don't feel healthy, especially when I'm working, 20 hours a day, never sleeping, drinking all the coffee, smoking all the weed, drinking all the beer. It's like, nah, you're not invincible.
Right.
But go on, yeah.
Yeah. No, I would wake up in the morning, specifically in the morning. It was rough trying to get out of bed. I was like, I don't feel healthy. So I was like, I wanted to go vegan, but I didn't know how. I didn't really know the process. So I stopped eating red meat. And then I was working out. I saw the results of that. And then I met somebody who I was dating at the time. And, she really kind of walked me through that step-by-step process. Like, okay, instead of meat, you can eat this. You can eat chickpeas. You can eat this. These are the vegetables. And she kind of put me on. And
because this was something that wasn't second nature to you.
Exactly.
Where the film stuff, you're like, I can just go and just boom, boom, boom.
Exactly.
But this, if you don't, go find somebody who can help you get there.
Exactly. So she guided me in that. And then I saw the results. I immediately lost weight. But it wasn't intentional. It was like the weight just melted off of me, and I felt better. I was like, okay, I like this. And then
the back pain.
Yeah, the back pain didn't come. That didn't subside until like later on, once I started practicing How to Eat to Live by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where it teaches, what they call intermittent fasting now, but it's like eating one meal a day and like staying away from certain foods that cause inflammation and all the stuff that we're not supposed to eat. So once I started doing that and I started fasting, the fasting was the thing. When the first time I ever tried to fast, I did a 24-hour fast and I was just drinking water. And for the first time in years, I noticed I didn't have any back pain.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, what the I was like, I don't have any back pain right now. Like, what is this? Like
in the robot shit.
I took it to my family because my dad has back pain too, and I was just like, yo, like there's something going on. That's when I put it two and two together. It's like something dietary is happening, because when I didn't eat, now I'm feeling like, relief of pain, and I'm not on any medication. So I just kept that going and started going to the chiropractor and everything like that. So I learned that fasting helps a lot. You know what I mean?
More like inflammation?
Inflammation, yeah. So certain foods that I was eating was causing me to be inflamed, and it was causing my back issues. But then also what I'm leaving out too is stretching. I remember, when I would play basketball in high school, my brother, when we would train, we laugh about it all the time. Shout out to Carlin, because he would, basically fuss me out, like yell at me if I picked up the basketball without stretching. And I tell young people, I sound like the old guy now, like, oh, make sure you're stretching, young bull. Like, nah, like it's real. Like stretch. I wish I would have stretched more when I was younger. Now I can't leave the house without stretching.
Wow.
I actually didn't stretch today, and I actually kind of feel it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not wise. But typically, I don't leave the house without stretching. So stretching and fasting is what helps me. And there was a point where I didn't think that I would ever play basketball again. Now I could, go out there with the best of them right now if I wanted to.
Wow. Because, I've after I was overdoing it for so long, the first thing that I was having like, I think I had a winged scapula in my back. So you're like, your shoulder blade is like off of your back because whatever muscle isn't being activated to hold it into your back.
We'll insert a photo as well. I think we should insert a photo.
Yeah. Okay, cool. The photo of mine. Cause I was trying to do push-ups and I was like, oh my God. And then I went to the doctor. They're like, yeah, it might never come back. Sometimes it comes back. Sometimes it doesn't. Wow. And I'm like, I noticed it when I was doing push-ups, or I was doing like bench press. So I felt my shoulder blade on it and I couldn't push it. And it was my right arm. So I couldn't even put my arm up. And it's crazy because I went to like physical therapists and they were just kind of just like, they weren't great. They were just adding the little electric things to your back and stuff, is like massaging it or whatever. And like, it was weeks and months and nothing ever happened. I went to Michigan and my sister's like, go to my guy, Bob. Bob can hook you up. It's like, I forget where he's at exactly in Michigan. I'm gonna put his information in the description as well, because it changed my life. I went in there and he's like, yeah, a lot of people don't know about this, boom, boom, boom. And then he went into my armpit and it was like and it wasn't completely healed right from that moment. The next day I woke up, 95% healed. There's like a rib within you go through your armpit and they clicked it back in. And the next day I'm like, And it's one of those things, and that's why I'm so frustrated with like the medical and like healthcare system and stuff. It's like there's so much data out there and so much knowledge that's not being used in your traditional healthcare that this guy I went to, what if I never went to him? I'd still be over here like this, like I'd still be messed up. But then I started thinking outside the box. But it was that, but also just my so that was one thing. But they said you might have had a virus that like triggered the thing. But I believe it was because how I was treating my body and how I was overdoing it, and I never prioritized my health. Because I went to the doctor, I had a new doctor, and went for like another thing. I was fatigued for like 2 weeks. I was like, "What's going on? Something's going on with me." And she was like, "Yeah. Are you sleeping?" I was like, "Nah, I don't really sleep. I mean, I sleep, but I don't sleep well." She's like, "Okay, well, you got to sleep. And like, how much coffee you drinking?" I'm like, "I don't know, like 2-3 cups a day sometimes." And she's like, "Yeah, that's too much. If you're drinking that, you're not sleeping, so you're not recharging, and you can't do this at your age anymore." So those were the little things that I started saying, like, okay, I got to prioritize it, but then you also got to prioritize the business. Otherwise, that's going to fail, and like all that kind of thing. So now, and this is what I want to get to. So now I'm actually, and my psoriasis was like out of control, and it's still pretty bad. But I just recently hired a coach, and the first thing is going to be a water fast. So that mindset, when you first did your first fast, was it super challenging?
Oh yeah.
Like how do you get through that? And this is for me. This is not for anybody else. This is for me. Like, how do you get through a fast? Eventually you got good at it, right? Because you notice how clear you got.
Right.
But like, walk me through that process.
Yeah, it's still a struggle for sure. But I think for me, the mentality was having a strong why. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know why you're doing this. And this is something that my brother gave to me. He was just like, you got to have a strong reason on what you're doing it for. Because, you know, he started the vegan journey before me.
Oh, really?
But the fasting thing was something that I'm like, okay. Honestly, for what worked for me was I told myself that water was my meal. So I took a gallon of water with me the whole day. And every time I felt like I was hungry or I had a thought of I want food, I was drinking the water all day. And then I got through it, and I was like, okay. So once I did one day, I challenged myself to do 2 days. And then
first time, or you did the one day, ate, and then next time you did 2?
Yeah, I did the one day, but then I also was having health challenges too. So when the shingles episode, when I had got shingles, I was diagnosed with shingles in 2020, which developed into a rare condition called Ramsay Hunt, formerly AKA Bell's palsy, you know what I mean, where half of my face was paralyzed. So it gave me a strong reason to like really figure it out, because I saw the results of it. I was like, oh, okay. So once I saw the results and saw that this was beneficial to me and this actually works, that was my reasoning of like, okay, I'm gonna double down and I'm gonna really try to strive. And there were times where I would fail. Like, I would strive to do a 3-day, and like I would do 2.5, or I would do 1.5, but then I would, just try to work yourself up. The first time I wasn't successful at doing 3 days the first time. I kind of built myself up to it. So once you do a day, you do a day and a half next time, and then you do 2 days. And I remember the first time I completed the 3-day fast, I was so proud of myself. I was like, wow. And a lot of people, they think, here's the key, here's what clicked to me, right? A lot of people think when you're fasting and you're getting lightheaded that you're going to pass out, like, and die. You know what I mean? It's not the case. It's what I realized was, so if I'm hydrating and I'm lightheaded, I'm not going to pass out. I'm hydrated. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go days without eating. You can go like longer than 30 days without eating. So I was like, I realized that I wasn't going to pass out. I was just having a heightened spiritual experience. And I remember, whatever you do, like prayer, meditation, like for me, I started praying. I was praying more when I was fasting, and I was noticing how like my prayers was getting answered like almost immediately. And I was like, yo, so I'm having like this, it wasn't that I was going to pass out. I was just having a very heightened spiritual experience. And once I submitted to that, then I'm more comfortable in my fast. As long as I'm drinking water and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm like, I'm not going to pass out. I've actually never passed out before. Even though I might feel lightheaded, I've never passed out.
And once you do it and that doesn't happen, next time it feels like that. It's like, oh yeah, that's always how it feels.
Yeah, exactly. So
I have a question. Sorry. What about working out like while you're fasting? Like, did that have an effect on your hunger?
Did you do your day-to-day stuff?
Right.
How did you feel?
Man, I don't want to sound insensitive to anybody, but honestly, I believe that it's really all mental. Like, I've been over here on a 3-day fast, and I've drank water or drank some coffee or something like that. And like, I remember I was on day 3 of my fast, and I went and worked out and I was hooping like it was nothing. Like I was just like, and I was just like,
that.
oh, I was like,
Gotta
You wanna
try
do it
that.
with me?
I'll do a starving challenge with you.
No, no, I was talking about the
A
hooping.
fast. Oh.
No,
Yeah.
because I think I'm talking to my coach this because I knew I needed somebody that's going to put me in check, and I have a strong why now too, and I think so. I'm in the best mental state that I've ever been in. I think
The why is
sleeping.
me.
Yeah.
why isn't me? Aw. I love
Insert
it.
photo of Jai. Like this.
But even to that though, like I think what I will say, the challenging part for me, even though it is all mental, like that's not to say it's easy. Like you really have to like, get through the adversity of it because your body will turn on you. Your body will tell you you need to eat.
Yeah,
You're going
it's
to
trying to
pass
protect
out.
you, yeah.
You will die. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But you're not going to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, hydrate yourself. You're not going to pass out.
You ever eat ice cubes or something?
Yeah, for
Really?
sure. Yeah, I'll be crunching on ice like just to trick my
Oh,
mind.
really? Yeah.
for sure. Just anything that works for you. But I noticed that what I will say is when I do go on a fast, like day 2, I do feel fatigued. Like I do feel like sometimes when I'm trying to wake up, I'm like, I feel it. I'm like, I feel fatigued. But then when you might need some, tea or something like that just to pipe yourself back up. Like I do feel like, that initial waking up, like I do feel fatigued, but as I go about my day and I'm not thinking about it,
that's the key.
that's why I think it's all mental, because when I'm not thinking about it, I'm working, I'm doing this. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, I'm lightheaded, I feel weak, I feel fatigued. It's
And
just
how did your attitude change too as well? Like
That's what she's worried about me being all angry and
yeah,
angry.
no, at first, you're gonna be hangry, you're gonna be grumpy at first, but then as you do it and you get more used to it, it becomes a way of life, it becomes a lifestyle. So at first, you might just, depending on your personality, like I know some people, some women I know that when they don't eat,
Me.
they but some men are like that too. But I'm not typically like that. I don't have a strong hold on food. So, I'm not a big foodie like that. Like I can go without eating. Like I'm not even hungry. I'm not thinking about food. I haven't eaten all day.
So the relationship between you and food has a lot to do with your experience with the fasting.
Yeah, some people use food as comfort, like it's comforting for them. So when they're not getting that, they feel uncomfortable. They feel uneasy.
Mentally and probably physically because your body's used to it.
Right.
Like getting fed. Because that's one thing I've been trying to like bulk up lately too. And I'm like, okay, depending on how long I have to go, but I know I'll be able to make it through. It's just a matter of like, that's why I'm excited just to get it started so I can get over that first hump and just know that I can and have the data like mentally like, "Hey, you've gotten through this before."
What's the longest you've gone without eating?
I don't know, maybe like 3 hours. No, some days I'll wake up and I'll drink coffee and I won't eat till like 5 or something like that. So but I've never gone not even close to a full day. No.
So you would start how I would start it mentally. I would eat at 5 and then don't eat until the next day at 5. That's 24 hours.
Right. Okay. I wonder how long I got to go, but because that's one thing I've noticed because I don't eat after 7 now, and I've been sleeping. I've been crushing sleep, and so I don't eat past 7. And when I wake up, even if say I ate at 5 and I'm a little hungry before I go to bed, I'll wake up and I'm not hungry.
Right.
So it's like
especially if you eat a full meal, like you're gonna wake up and. It was kind of easier for me, I would say, because I've never been like a breakfast person. Like I don't wake up hungry. I've always woken up and I'm like, I'm not really hungry right now. I don't get hungry till about 12, like 1 p.m. And then I'm like, okay, well, I could wait a few more hours to eat. So, now it's become routine for me. Like my body will start getting hungry at about like 3:30, 4. That's around the time I know I'm about to start eating. But
you're about to eat.
Yeah, for sure.
No, 1 meal a day.
But I was just 24 hours. Like for me, it was just like that was the easiest thing. Like, okay, if you're eating at 7, don't eat until 7 the next day. That's 24 hours right there. You just did a full day.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, I'll keep you updated. We'll have you back and see if I make it through.
He's gonna be our fasting coach.
Yeah, he was.
sure.
Well, that's what. Even when Paris got diagnosed with multiple myeloma, he was like, broke down like the foods he should and shouldn't have and that kind of thing too. Because even if we think we are eating healthy, there's so many things and preservatives and just chemicals in this stuff that they allow these stores to sell still, and stupid people like me that are like, I can eat whatever, I'm fine. And then it, later down the road, it's really impacted my life negatively.
Yeah, what I've learned is like the less you eat, the longer you'll live. You know what I mean? So it's sometimes like the fasting, it really helps restart the system and gives your body time to replenish and put the nutrients where they're supposed to be and really digest the food. A lot of times we think we're supposed to be eating back to back, but I bear witness that the less I eat, I might be losing weight, but I feel great. whoa, that was a bar. Come on, hey, that was a bar. You know, I might be losing weight, but I feel great. You know what I'm saying?
So don't hate. You know
I
what
can
mean?
play basketball again. Now, there was a point where I never thought I would play basketball, so now I can go hoop and I'll bust your ass. You know what I'm saying? So sorry, I get competitive.
That's another thing. That's why I'm excited to do this, because I'm super competitive. Like, prove to even to myself that I can do it. So it's gonna be a nice
you
journey.
can do it, bro.
But
You're gonna kill it.
yeah. This is I've battled with psoriasis since 2006. I had like the first little bit of psoriasis, and my dad deals with it as well. But then as I wasn't taking care of myself, it just started. It's like everywhere, and I'm like, and it gets inflamed when I eat certain foods. And all the doctors and dermatologists were like, just put this ointment on it, it'll fix it. It's topical, it's, you know, but it's fixing your gut. So I'm really excited to finally say, nah, man, when I turn 38 in November, I'm gonna be psoriasis free.
Right. Hey, nah. Hey, absolutely. Nah, you got it, bro. I know anything that you put your mind to, you excel at it and you go to the next level. So I'm interested to see this journey for you because, you know, it's gonna be. Next time I see him, he's gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm on a 10-day fast."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Whoa, chill out, bro."
We shoot part 2, part 3 in 30 days. I'm like, yeah, I still haven't eaten, man. Fucking killing it. You're like, okay, it's just skin and bones. You're
That's
like,
hilarious.
all right, cool, man. As we wrap this up, I want to talk about. So now you have this business of acting course. Now that you're helping people one-on-one in different groups, and then there's also an online program that you have available as well. Right. So yeah, what's going on with all of that?
Oh man, so so right now the focus right now has been the business of acting, because a lot of actors that I come across, they're in classes, they're training, they understand the craft, but they're not necessarily understanding the business aspects of everything and how to navigate successfully. So right now I have a program that teaches these concepts because for me, I found that branding is the number one thing, the number one tool for an actor to understand, as far as knowing what roles, what shows, what projects that they would be going out for, so that now acting class it makes more sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you understand, if you're getting specific, I'm all about specificity. So if you are adding specific goals and tangible resources to your career, then you can add wisdom to the decisions that you're making versus just being in the dark and blindly going about things and not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, crossing your fingers.
Yeah, exactly. That's what most people do. I mean, that was me. I was like, oh, I want to be an actor. I'm gonna go to acting class and learn. But by the end of the program, the goal is for an actor to have a well-made business plan that gives them a step-by-step process on the things that they need to do, the type of classes you should be in, the type of shots that you need. Just making investments versus gambling. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that I wish I would have had when I first started out, just having a clear trajectory of like where I want to go and how to get there. So that's what it's about.
It's amazing. It's so cool to see like the reaction from people too. I've been seeing everybody that's been in the course and stuff too, and just how it's changed their lives and how that's really preparing them as they're going to navigate their career. And like, you walking into a new agent, if you need a new agent and you already have all this stuff prepped, they're more likely to go and fight for you as you're fighting alongside them, because you're just prepared. Right. And then that gives you a better shot, and giving you a better shot makes you happier as you're navigating, which makes your life more fulfilled, I think. Right. Yeah. And it kind of, it hurts my feelings. Like, the amount of actors that I talk to that I'm like, do you understand the business? Do you know? And then they're 9 times out of 10, they don't know. You know what I'm saying? So what is your opinion on that? Like, why do you think we're not being taught the business side of things? I'm not sure. I just think it's great that there's people like yourself that are actually handing it down, because I know everything that I do, and as I've been making bigger strides in my career, I love giving it back. And I remember when Clubhouse, which you got me on Clubhouse, when there was like that era, right? Yeah, that was an era, bro. Yeah, it was just crazy. But I remember going in there and then seeing how many people, like you said, were just lost. And they felt like just creative was the only thing that they had to focus on. And I remember just seeing the feedback, and the DMs would just be flooded of all these people like, oh, thank you so much for this information about how to package your own projects. And so there's a huge target demographic out there that needs that. And because there's so many people that are interested in acting and maybe never make the move, but now they have the internet, so they're doing it in Kansas or something, and they're putting their stuff on the internet, and they can grow a following and then eventually make the move or what have you. But so yeah, I'm not sure why more people don't know about that. I think it's just a lot of people just see what they see, right? They want to be an actor because that's the only thing that's visible.
Right.
So if they want to be an actor, then they look to see what they got to do. They know they got to get headshots to get into an acting class, and I think that's where it kind of ends.
Right.
And some acting classes will have like I remember at like Aaron Spizer's studio, they'll have like a business of acting course, but they never, and it's super valuable, but it's like a full day and you can learn a lot.
Exactly.
But I think the fact of having an actual course, I like you, I know we talked about this last time. It's like, I feel like it's at least as equally necessary to be good at the business of acting that is the creative, if not way more.
Right.
And it's changed my life and how I've been able to like really be happy in the business, because I know that I'm making the decisions and building the right things to really have longevity in this space. But yeah, I'm not sure. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think kind of like what you were saying, because like that was, I remember Aaron, that was the first business of acting seminar that I've ever been a part of and that I've ever seen, and it was super valuable because he's bringing like, you know, Will Smith, J-Lo, and LL Cool J to talk about these ideas and these concepts. So yeah, I think that like you kind of said, like people see, okay, acting, get in the class, get some headshots, and they're not really understanding, you know, what it takes to be that series regular. They're not even understanding, okay, there's steps before being a series regular. There's co-star, guest star, you know what I'm saying, background, you know, most people know background work, but even trying to figure out how to leverage background work, you know, having a strategy for background work. You know, when you do background work, you can turn that into a stand-in and you can make opportunities happen for yourself, networking, knowing who to network with on the actual set, knowing who the ADs are, who the showrunners are, knowing who to politic with. And these are things that, you know, Clubhouse gave me a lot of game too on that. It was just like, oh, I didn't think to, you know, reach out to the production coordinators to get a job in the entertainment industry. So it's just, you know, gems. I think at the root of it, right, I think that the business is so competitive. It's like, why would I tell Mark? Why would I give my secrets to Mark if I'm still trying to get on? He's my competition. But not knowing that he can be your closest ally. If you share information with him, he can share information on how to package your lookbook and sell your project to Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not seeing the value in, you know, connecting with other people. You're just thinking about it as yourself, and that's what Hollywood is predicated on. It's me. What can you do for me? I'm trying to get on. I'm trying to hustle bustle, but you know, we're changing that. Yeah, we're changing that paradigm. So.
Yeah, I think the first thing that anybody ever told me that was like the business side that really clicked for me was using IMDb Pro and how to just meet different producers, or getting the information of who's producing what, who's acting in what, who's the agent of who's the lawyer for this, and that's all just at your fingertips for like $20 a month. Right. And you're not doing that. And you don't have like your headshot in there, don't have all of your, you know, credits as you start, and people are like, I don't have any credits yet. It's like, all right, well, figure it out. Eventually you'll probably make some up, and then you eventually you know, do one job turns into 10, turns into 100. Right. But you got to get started, and definitely focus on the business of acting. And I think next time we have you on in a few weeks or something, let's go even through, because I want to like geek out about the acting stuff. Today was more about like the journey and what you're doing, but I would love to go through like each of the different like maybe topics within your course, and like even just give some gems within that. I would love to geek out on that kind of stuff and see what's up.
Down with that. Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on the platform, bro.
Yes, sir.
This is dope, man. I'm always appreciative of, you know, when we link up. I learn a lot from you.
Likewise, man.
Yeah, you've been a valuable friend, a valuable resource, and what do you have coming up next? Like, what's going on?
I got nothing. We got too much to talk about.
Right.
No, yes, man. I'm just excited. I'm just excited about, you know, the changes that are happening in the entertainment business, as people, you know, streaming definitely like really broke the mold. I definitely, next time we talk, I want to talk about this writer strike. Yeah. So that's ongoing. Talking about SAG might be quicker than anticipated. The director, DGA is already kind of handled. So yeah, it should be really interesting what happens. But these are the necessary changes that have to happen in the business so that you can have longevity in your career. And I think if you're dedicated to your craft, you're dedicated to the business side of everything, and you're playing the long game, then you can have a really successful career in entertainment. But yeah, tell everybody where they can find you, man. You can find me at Romel X Rose on all platforms. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
and YouTube for sure. Subscribe to my YouTube, and that's where all my short films are. If you want to check them out, share them with your family, and have movie night, go ahead, do that.
Boom. Yeah. And then also the course. What's the course called? Where they can
The
find
course is called Professional Acting Business Coaching with me. If you would like to inquire, you can message me, send me a DM on Instagram. Like I said, at Romel X Rose. The website is going to be launching in a few weeks, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. All right. And Jaima, where can they find you?
You can find me at Instagram at Jaima Official, JaimaOffficial.
Yeah, perfect. There you go.
Jaima Official everywhere.
Yeah, a little spelling bee. All right. You can find me, Mark Rodriguez TV, and us at Mastermynd Media. Thank you so much, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.